cheated with her club manager for years. Now me moving on is driving her insane. I found out my wife was sleeping with her boss 3 weeks ago, and now she's losing her mind because I'm not sitting around waiting for her to decide if she wants me back. This whole thing is so messed up, I still can't believe it's real. My name's Alex, I'm 33, and until last month, I thought I had a pretty solid marriage. My wife, Nicole, is 29. We've been together for 6 years, married for 3. We met at a gym where we both had memberships. She was into fitness, and I was trying to get back in shape after college. We hit it off and started dating pretty quick. Nicole's always been super social and outgoing. She loves being around people and has always had a ton of friends. I'm more chill. I've got my close group of guys I've known since high school, and that's enough for me. When we got together, I liked that she brought me out of my shell a bit. She dragged me to parties and events, and I'd go along with it because I wanted to make her happy. About 2 years into our relationship, Nicole got a job as a fitness instructor at this fancy gym and wellness club downtown. The place was expensive, catered to rich people, had a spa and a juice bar and all that stuff. She was pumped about the job because the pay was good and she got to teach classes all day, which was her dream. Her manager at the club was this guy named Derek. Mid-30s, fit, drove a nice car, always dressed sharp. Nicole would mention him sometimes when talking about work, how Derek said she was doing great with her classes, how Derek was helping her develop new workout programs, how Derek took the instructors out for drinks after work sometimes. I met Derek once at a holiday party the club threw for employees and their partners. He seemed fine, friendly enough, shook my hand, made small talk, then went off to mingle with other people. I didn't think anything of it. Looking back now, I should have paid more attention. But at the time, I was working long hours doing construction management, and I was tired when I got home. Nicole would tell me about her day, and I'd listen, but I wasn't really processing details. I trusted her completely, so when she'd come home late saying she'd gone out with coworkers, I believed her. About a year ago, things started changing. Nicole was on her phone constantly. She'd get texts at weird hours and would grab her phone real quick to check them. If I asked who was texting, she'd say it was one of her instructor friends from work. She started going out more after work, too. At least 2 or 3 nights a week, she'd come home at 10 or 11, saying the staff had gone out for drinks or dinner. I started feeling like something was off, but I couldn't put my finger on what. We were having intimacy less often. When we did, she seemed distracted. She stopped initiating completely. I'd try to talk to her about it, and she'd say she was just tired from teaching so many classes. She also started dressing differently, more makeup, tighter clothes, new perfume. She said it was for work, that she needed to look good as an instructor because it was part of the job. I wanted to believe that, but it nagged at me. Around 6 months ago, I suggested we plan a vacation together. Just the two of us, somewhere tropical, a chance to reconnect. Nicole shot it down immediately. She said she couldn't take time off work because they were short-staffed. I said we could go during her slow season. She said she'd think about it, but we never talked about it again. Our friends started asking me if everything was okay between us. I guess people had noticed that Nicole was always out without me, that we didn't seem as close as we used to be. I made excuses, said we were both busy with work, that we were fine, but we weren't fine. I knew it, and I think she knew it too. 3 weeks ago, I was supposed to work late on a job site, but we finished early. I got home around 6 instead of 9. Nicole's car was in the driveway, which was weird because Wednesday was one of her late class nights. I figured maybe her evening class got canceled. I walked into the house and heard noises coming from upstairs. Music playing, other sounds. My brain didn't want to process what I was hearing. I stood at the bottom of the stairs for probably a full minute, just frozen. Then I went upstairs. Our bedroom door was closed. I opened it. Nicole was in our bed with Derek. They didn't even notice me at first. I just stood there watching my wife sleep with her boss in the bed I paid for in the house I'd been making payments on for 2 years. When Nicole finally saw me standing there, she screamed. Derek scrambled to grab his clothes. I didn't yell or throw anything or attack anyone. I just stood there feeling completely numb. Nicole was crying and trying to cover herself with the sheets. She kept saying my name over and over. Derek was trying to leave, and I moved out of the doorway to let him pass. He mumbled something like, "Sorry, man," as he ran down the stairs. I heard the front door slam. Nicole was still in the bed crying. She was saying it wasn't what it looked like, which was the dumbest thing she could have said because it was exactly what it looked like. I asked her how long. She didn't answer at first. Just kept crying and saying she was sorry. I asked again. How long had this been going on? She finally said 2 years, 2 years. She'd been sleeping with Derek for 2 entire years, and I'd had no idea. I left the room and went downstairs. Nicole followed me, trying to explain. She said it just happened, that Derek was there for her when I was always working, that she felt lonely, and Derek made her feel special, that it didn't mean anything, and she still loved me. I told her to pack a bag and get out. She started begging me not to make her leave, said we could work through this, that she'd quit her job and never see Derek again, that she'd do whatever it took to fix things. I repeated myself, pack a bag and get out of my house. She finally realized I was serious and went upstairs. She came back down 20 minutes later with a duffel bag full of clothes. She asked where she was supposed to go. I told her that wasn't my problem anymore. She could go stay with Derek for all I cared. She left and I locked the door behind her. Then I just sat on the couch staring at nothing for probably 3 hours. I couldn't cry, couldn't get angry, just felt empty. The next day I called a lawyer, set up a consultation for the end of the week. I also called my brother and told him what happened. He came over that night with beer and we just sat and talked. He told me I deserved better and that I'd get through this. Nicole started texting me the next day, long messages about how sorry she was, how she'd made a terrible mistake, how she wanted to come home and talk. I didn't respond to any of them. She called probably 50 times over the next few days. I didn't answer. She left voicemails crying and begging me to pick up. I deleted them without listening all the way through. A week after I kicked her out, she showed up at the house. I didn't open the door. She stood on the porch, crying and knocking for almost an hour. My neighbor actually came over and asked if everything was okay. I told him my wife and I were separating and she was having a hard time with it. Nicole finally left when I texted her that if she didn't leave, I was calling the cops. I met with my lawyer and started the divorce process. The house was in my name because I'd bought it before we got married. We had a joint bank account, but most of the money in it was mine. No kids. The lawyer said it should be pretty straightforward. Nicole got served with divorce papers about 10 days ago. She called me immediately screaming, said she couldn't believe I was actually divorcing her, that we'd taken vows and I was just giving up without even trying to work things out. I told her there was nothing to work out. She'd been having an affair for 2 years. She'd slept with another man in our bed. She'd lied to me every single day for 2 years. What exactly was there to save? She said everyone makes mistakes, that affairs happen and couples get past them all the time, that I was being cruel and heartless by not even giving her a chance to make things right. I hung up on her. Here's where things get really crazy. 2 days ago, I went out with some friends, just to a bar near my place to watch the game and have some beers. One of my buddy's girlfriends brought her friend Laura. We'd met before at parties and stuff. She was cool, easy to talk to. We ended up sitting next to each other and talking most of the night. Nothing serious, just joking around and talking about random stuff. At the end of the night, we exchanged numbers. She texted me the next day saying she had fun and we should hang out again sometime. I said, sure, that's it. We've texted a little bit, made plans to grab coffee this weekend. That's literally all that's happened. Somehow Nicole found out about it. I don't know how. Maybe one of our mutual friends saw us at the bar and told her. Maybe she's been stalking my social media even though I blocked her. I have no idea. But yesterday I woke up to 30 missed calls from Nicole and about 60 text messages. She was absolutely losing it, saying she couldn't believe I was already seeing someone else, that I'd clearly never loved her if I could move on this fast, that I'd probably been cheating on her with Laura the whole time. The texts got nastier as they went on. She called Laura names, said I was just using Laura to get back at her, said Laura was probably ugly and desperate, said I'd regret this when I realized what I was throwing away. I didn't respond to any of it. But Nicole didn't stop. She called my brother asking him to talk sense into me. She called my parents, who I hadn't even told about the affair yet. So that was a fun conversation to have. She messaged my friends on social media asking them to convince me to take her back. Last night she posted on Facebook a long post about how marriage is hard and requires forgiveness, how everyone makes mistakes and true love means working through the rough patches, how some people give up too easily and don't value commitment. She didn't mention me by name, but everyone knew what she was talking about. People were commenting, asking if we were okay. A few people who knew what had happened commented telling her to take the post down. She deleted those comments. This morning, Nicole texted me again, said we needed to talk in person, that she deserved a chance to explain everything face to face, that I owed her that much after 6 years together. I told her I didn't owe her anything, that she'd destroyed our marriage when she decided to have an affair for 2 years, that I was moving on with my life, and she needed to do the same. She said I wasn't moving on, I was just trying to hurt her by dating someone new so fast. She said if I really wanted to move on, I'd give us a chance to fix things first before jumping into something else. The logic makes no sense. She cheated on me for 2 years, but I'm the bad guy for going on one date with someone new after we separated. She's acting like I'm the one who destroyed our marriage. My friends say she's just panicking because she thought I'd take her back eventually, that she figured she could have her affair with Derek and still keep me as a backup. Now that she sees I'm actually done and potentially interested in someone else, she's freaking out. My lawyer says to keep all her messages in case we need them for the divorce, that her harassment could work in my favor, but I'm just tired. I'm tired of the constant texts and calls. I'm tired of her showing up at my house. I'm tired of her playing the victim when she's the one who cheated. I'm tired of feeling like I have to justify moving on with my life. Nicole had 2 years to think about our marriage while she was sleeping with Derek. She made her choice every single time she met up with him. She chose him over me hundreds of times. And now she's mad that I'm choosing myself? I haven't even done anything with Laura yet. We've literally just texted and made plans for coffee. But even if I had, so what? Nicole and I are done. We're getting divorced. I'm allowed to see other people. Has anyone dealt with something like this? Where the person who cheated acts like you're the villain for moving on? How do you get them to leave you alone and accept that it's over? Update. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and Nicole has completely spiraled. I thought she was bad before, but this is on another level. I'm genuinely worried about what she might do next. After I made that post, I went to coffee with Laura like we'd planned. It was nice. We talked for like 2 hours about everything random. She's a graphic designer and told me about this project she was working on. I talked about construction and some of the builds I've managed. Normal first date stuff. We went on a second date a few days later. Dinner at this Italian place downtown. Again, it was just easy and comfortable. Laura knows I'm going through a divorce, but I haven't gone into all the details about Nicole's affair. I just said we grew apart and things ended badly. I posted one picture on Instagram after the dinner, just a shot of the food at the restaurant with a caption about trying a new place. Laura wasn't even in the photo, but I guess Nicole figured out we'd gone to dinner together somehow. The next morning, I woke up to my phone absolutely blown up. Nicole had sent me probably 100 texts overnight, started around midnight, and didn't stop until 6 in the morning. The texts were all over the place. Some were her crying and begging me to stop seeing Laura. Some were angry, calling me every name you can think of. Some were her saying she was going to hurt herself if I didn't talk to her. That last part really scared me. I screenshot all of them and sent them to my lawyer. He said the threats of self-harm were concerning and I should contact her family to let them know she might need help. So I called Nicole's mom. Her mom already knew about the affair. Nicole had apparently told her side of the story where she made it sound like the affair just happened one time and I was overreacting by divorcing her. Her mom had been on Nicole's side, telling her we could work through it. But when I told her about the messages and sent her the screenshots, her tone changed. She was quiet for a minute and then said she'd go check on Nicole. She apologized for how her daughter was acting and said she didn't raise her to behave like this. I felt bad for her mom. None of this is her fault, but at least someone from Nicole's family now knows how bad things have gotten. That afternoon, Nicole's mom called me back. She said she'd gone to the apartment where Nicole was staying, and Nicole was a mess. Hadn't showered in days, apartment was trashed. She'd been drinking and not eating much. Her mom said she tried to convince Nicole to come stay with her and Nicole's dad for a while, but Nicole refused. Her mom asked me if there was any chance I'd consider marriage counseling. I told her respectfully that no, there wasn't. That Nicole had carried on an affair for 2 years and I couldn't get past that. Her mom said she understood but had to ask. 2 days after that, Derek reached out to me. Yeah, Derek. The guy my wife was sleeping with. He sent me a message on Facebook asking if we could talk. I almost didn't respond, but curiosity got the better of me. I called him and he actually answered. The conversation was surreal. Derek said he wanted to apologize for everything, that he knew what he did was wrong and he felt terrible about it. He said the affair was a mistake and he'd ended things with Nicole after I caught them. I asked him why he was telling me this. He said because Nicole had been blowing up his phone and showing up at the gym, trying to get him to take her back. That she'd told him if he really cared about her, he'd help her win me back so we could all move on with our lives. I was confused. I asked what that even meant. Derek explained that Nicole's plan was for him to convince me that the affair was mostly his fault, that he'd pursued her and she'd just been weak and lonely. Then once I forgave Nicole and took her back, she'd leave Derek alone and everything would go back to normal. The whole thing was insane. Nicole actually thought Derek would help her manipulate me into taking her back so that she'd stop bothering him. Like we were all just pieces in some game she was playing. Derek said he wanted no part of it, that he'd made a mistake sleeping with a married woman, and he was dealing with his own guilt about it. But he wasn't going to help Nicole lie to me more than she already had. He also told me something I didn't know. The affair hadn't started 2 years ago, like Nicole said. It had been going on almost since she started working at the gym, 3.5 years. She'd lied about the timeline to make it seem less bad. I felt sick hearing that. 3.5 years of my wife sleeping with someone else. 3.5 years of lies. I'd been completely blind to all of it. After I hung up with Derek, I just sat in my truck in the work parking lot for a while trying to process. My coworker knocked on the window asking if I was okay. I told him I was fine, just needed a minute. That night, Laura called me. She'd been getting weird messages on Instagram from an account with no profile picture. The messages were telling her to stay away from me, that I was married and trying to work things out with my wife, that Laura was ruining a marriage. Laura asked me what was going on. I finally told her the whole story, about Nicole's affair, about catching them in my house, about the divorce, about Nicole's harassment, all of it. Laura was quiet when I finished. Then she said she appreciated me being honest, but she wasn't sure she wanted to get involved in this kind of drama. That it seemed like a lot, and maybe I needed to figure things out before dating anyone. I completely understood where she was coming from. I told her I didn't blame her, and I was sorry my ex was dragging her into this mess. Laura said she needed to think about things and would let me know. I haven't heard from her since. That was 4 days ago. I'm pretty sure that's her way of saying she's out. Can't say I blame her. Who wants to deal with a crazy ex-wife when you're just trying to casually date someone? So once again, Nicole got what she wanted. She destroyed any chance I had with Laura. I'm sure that makes her happy. Yesterday, Nicole tried a different approach. She sent me an email. Not text, but an actual long email. She said she'd been thinking a lot and realized she needed to take responsibility for her actions, that the affair was wrong and she understood why I was hurt. Then she said she'd been doing research on infidelity and healing from affairs, that there are couples who survive infidelity and come out stronger, that it takes work, but it's possible. She said she was willing to do that work if I was. She said she'd already found a marriage counselor who specializes in affair recovery, that she'd made an appointment for next week and really hoped I'd come, that this could be the first step in us healing. The email was calmer and more rational than her texts had been, but it still felt manipulative, like she'd figured out that the crying and threatening weren't working, so now she was trying a different strategy. I responded with one sentence. The marriage is over. Please stop contacting me. She wrote back immediately saying I wasn't even willing to try, that I was giving up without a fight, that the Alex she married wouldn't quit this easily. I didn't respond to that one. This morning I got to work and one of my guys said someone had been asking about me. A woman had shown up at the job site yesterday afternoon asking which one was Alex. My foreman told her I'd already left for the day. She asked what time I usually left, and he told her it varied. Then she left. I'm pretty sure it was Nicole. She's now showing up at my workplace trying to track me down. My foreman asked if I was in some kind of trouble. I explained briefly that I was going through a divorce and my ex-wife wasn't handling it well. He said to let him know if she showed up again and he'd handle it. I'm at the point where I think I need a restraining order. My lawyer agrees. He said we have more than enough documentation of harassment. The constant texts and calls, the messages to Laura, showing up at my house and now my work, the threats of self-harm. We're filing the paperwork this week. Nicole's going to lose her mind when she gets served, but at least it'll be official that she needs to leave me alone. Update. The restraining order was served 5 days ago, and Nicole's response has been exactly as insane as I expected. Things have escalated to the point where I'm actually scared of what she might do next. When Nicole got served at work, she apparently threw a fit in front of customers and her coworkers. Started screaming about how I was trying to ruin her life. Security had to escort her out of the building. The gym ended up suspending her pending an investigation into her behavior. So now on top of everything else, Nicole might lose her job, which she's blaming on me even though she's the one who caused the scene. Her first move after getting served was to post about the restraining order on social media. She took a photo of the paperwork and posted it on Instagram with a long caption about how I was using the legal system to abuse her, how restraining orders are meant for actually dangerous people, and I was manipulating things because I wanted to be with someone else. She painted herself as the victim, said I'd cheated on her emotionally by moving on too fast, and now I was punishing her for calling me out on it. Didn't mention her 3.5 year affair once. A bunch of people who didn't know the real story commented with support for her, telling her to stay strong, that they couldn't believe I'd do this to her, that she deserved better. Some people who knew the truth tried to comment corrections, but Nicole just deleted those and blocked the people who made them. My lawyer saw the post and told the judge that Nicole was violating the restraining order by posting about me online. The order specifically says she can't contact me directly or indirectly, which includes posting about me on social media. The judge agreed and sent Nicole a warning that if she posted about me again, she'd be in contempt of court. Nicole took down the Instagram post, but I guess she thought she was being clever because she made a TikTok and posted basically the same thing there. Just changed enough details that she probably thought it wouldn't count. My lawyer wasn't having it. He filed another motion, and this time the judge scheduled a hearing. Told Nicole she needed to show up and explain why she shouldn't be held in contempt. That hearing was 2 days ago. Nicole showed up without a lawyer, which seemed stupid to me. The judge asked her why she kept posting about the situation online after being warned not to. Nicole said she was just venting and had a right to free speech, that she wasn't contacting me directly, so she wasn't violating anything. The judge was not impressed. She explained that the restraining order prohibited indirect contact, which included posting about me on social media where our mutual friends could see, that Nicole knew exactly what she was doing. And Nicole started crying and saying this wasn't fair, that I'd humiliated her by filing for divorce and now I was trying to control what she could post online, that I was the real problem. The judge shut that down quick. She said she'd read all the evidence I'd submitted, the texts, the voicemails showing up at my house and work, the messages to Laura. She said Nicole's behavior was harassment and the restraining order was justified. Then the judge ordered Nicole to get a mental health evaluation, said it was clear Nicole was struggling and needed professional help, gave her 2 weeks to complete it and report back. Nicole was furious, said there was nothing wrong with her and she didn't need to be evaluated. The judge said if she didn't do it, she'd be in contempt and could face jail time. After the hearing, Nicole tried to approach me in the hallway. She was crying, saying we needed to talk. My lawyer stepped between us and told her she was violating the order by approaching me, that if she didn't leave, he'd call security. Nicole backed off but yelled that I was being cruel, that I'd changed into someone she didn't recognize. Here's where things got actually scary. Night before last, I was home watching TV around 10. I heard something outside and looked out the window. Nicole's car was parked across the street. She was just sitting there watching my house, and I called the police right away, told them about the restraining order, and that she was outside. They said they'd send someone. By the time the cop showed up, Nicole was gone. He took my statement and said he'd patrol by my house extra during his shift. Also suggested I get security cameras if I didn't have them. Next morning, I went to the store and bought a video doorbell and 2 outdoor cameras. Spent all day Saturday setting them up. Now I've got my front door, driveway, and backyard covered. Good thing, too, because last night at 2 in the morning, my phone went off with an alert. Someone was in my driveway. I pulled up the camera, and Nicole was standing next to my truck, just staring at the house. I recorded the video and called the cops again. They came out and found her sitting in her car down the street, arrested her for violating the restraining order. She's in jail right now. Her mom called me this morning asking me to drop the charges, said Nicole was going through a hard time and didn't deserve jail, that she had a problem, but jail wasn't the answer. I told her I didn't press charges, Nicole broke the law, that I couldn't drop charges even if I wanted to, and that Nicole had multiple chances to follow the order and chose not to. Her mom got quiet, then said she didn't know what to do anymore, that she'd tried to help Nicole, but Nicole wouldn't listen. She asked if I had any advice. I said Nicole needed serious therapy, that this level of obsession wasn't normal. Her mom agreed and said she'd talk to Nicole about getting real help once she's out, then apologized again and hung up. I've been thinking about how we got here, how I didn't see Nicole was capable of this. Were there signs? Or did catching her flip some switch? My therapist says sometimes people who get caught cheating can't handle losing control. They're used to managing everything and keeping secrets. When it all comes out, they panic and try to get control back any way they can. That makes sense. Nicole spent 3.5 years living a double life. She controlled when she saw Derek what she told me, how she kept it hidden. I took that away when I filed for divorce and wouldn't engage with her. Now she's desperate to get control back. But the harder she tries, the worse things get. I feel bad for her in a way. Not bad enough to take her back, but bad that she destroyed her own life. Lost me, probably losing her job, got a restraining order, and now a criminal record. All because she couldn't accept we were done. My friends say none of this is my fault, that I didn't make Nicole cheat or harass me. That's on her. I know they're right, but it still feels weird that my marriage ended with my wife getting arrested. The bail hearing is tomorrow. Her parents will probably bail her out. Then we'll see if getting arrested was enough of a wake-up call. My lawyer says if she violates again, the judge will give her real jail time. No more warnings. He said I should prepare for Nicole possibly escalating before she accepts reality. That scares me. What if arrest isn't enough? How far will she go? I've started staying at my brother's some nights to be unpredictable. I changed my route to work, always checking cameras. This isn't how I thought my life would be at 33. All because I came home early and found my wife in bed with someone else. One moment changed everything. Now I'm just trying to get through this so I can start over. Update. Final update. Nicole got out on bail and violated the restraining order again within 24 hours. She's back in jail, and this time the judge isn't playing games. Nicole's parents bailed her out the day after my last post. They took her to stay with them about an hour away. I thought maybe the distance would help, that she'd have time to think about her choices and calm down. I was completely wrong. The afternoon after she got out, my doorbell camera went off around 3. I pulled up the feed expecting a delivery. Instead, it was Nicole. She was holding flowers and a letter. She walked right up and rang the doorbell, then just stood there waiting like I was actually going to answer. I called 911 immediately, told them my ex-wife who'd just been arrested was currently at my door. They said units were coming. Nicole rang the bell 3 more times, then started knocking, then banging and calling my name, saying she knew I was home because my truck was there, that we needed to talk and she wasn't leaving until I opened up. I was recording everything through my phone. The whole thing is on video. Nicole standing there for almost 15 minutes begging, saying she'd made mistakes, but we could fix things, that she loved me. Police showed up while she was still on my porch. They told her she was under arrest. Nicole started arguing, said she was just trying to talk to her husband, that we were working things out and this was a misunderstanding. The officer told her I'd called and reported the violation, that I clearly didn't want her there. Nicole lost it, started screaming about how I was ruining her life, how she'd made one mistake and I was treating her like a criminal. They arrested her. As they walked her to the car, she kept yelling that I'd regret this, that I was throwing away the best thing that ever happened to me, that Laura would never love me like she did. After they left, I found the flowers and letter on my porch. The letter was pages long. Nicole explaining how sorry she was and how much she loved me and why we were meant to be together. I gave everything to my lawyer. We had an emergency hearing the next day. The judge was done with Nicole. She'd been warned multiple times, been in contempt, been arrested once, and went right back less than 2 days after making bail. The judge said Nicole clearly couldn't be trusted. She revoked bail and ordered Nicole held until trial, set a trial date for the violation charges. Nicole's looking at up to a year in jail. Nicole's lawyer tried saying she had mental health issues and needed treatment, not jail. The judge said Nicole had been ordered to get evaluated and didn't comply, that the court tried to help and Nicole refused. Nicole started crying and begging for another chance, promising she'd stay away if the judge let her go. The judge said she'd heard enough and had Nicole removed. As they let her out, Nicole looked at me. Her face was a mess, and she looked broken. Part of me felt bad, but mostly I just felt relieved she'd finally face consequences. Nicole's mom came up to me after. She was crying too, said she was sorry for everything, that they'd tried to get Nicole to see reason, but she wouldn't listen. She thanked me for not giving up on getting help for Nicole, even though it meant legal trouble. Said maybe this would finally make Nicole get the therapy she needs. The divorce should be finalized in about 6 weeks. My lawyer says with Nicole in jail, it'll go through without any issues. The house stays mine, we split the bank account, and that's it. No alimony since we were only married 3 years and she was working. Laura reached out yesterday. She heard through friends what happened, said she was sorry I went through all this. We talked for a while, and she asked if maybe we could try again once everything settled. I said I'd like that, but I need some time to process everything first, and she understood that. So that's where I'm at right now. My wife of 3 years is in jail for stalking me after I caught her cheating. The divorce is almost done, and I'm finally starting to feel like I can breathe again. I don't wish Nicole harm. I hope she gets help and figures her life out. But I also know I made the right choice walking away. Nobody should stay with someone who cheats on them for years and then terrorizes them when they try to move on. To anyone reading this going through something similar, trust your gut. If someone cheats, you don't owe them a second chance. You don't owe them your forgiveness. You don't owe them anything. And if they can't accept the relationship is over, get legal help before it escalates. I'll be closing this account now. Time to move forward and leave this whole nightmare behind me. Thanks to everyone who commented with support. It helped more than you know.